So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back once again to the most truthful watch market update show in the world, in Europe, in Russia, everywhere, Japan, China, Indonesia, all those places. I don't even know how to pronounce them, the names, but all around the world, we are accepted and they love us. Thank you very much, Bonbon, for that super chat. Unbelievable. I get emotional when I see a super chat. I get happy. If it's 50 cents, 90 cents, I don't care. I'm happy, because that means that you guys appreciate who I am and sweet cake Kino. So thank you very much again, Bonbon. Let me give him a sweetheart here, because he's unbelievable. A little Nike hero here. That's good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only public service watch announcement channel out there that tries to bring you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's hard for you to, accept the truth, but ladies and gentlemen, you have to, porque la situación está mala, because the situation is bad out there. The situation is bad out there, ladies and gentlemen. The watch market is dead. The watch market is dead. No matter what they keep on telling you. Let me explain to you something. Just because I say that the watch market is dead, that doesn't mean that I don't like watches. I love watches. I have it here, my Bane. I gotta look for a Bane, to give me a shot, because I love watches. But that doesn't, no le quita el mérito que el negocio de los relojes está muerto. That doesn't make a difference that the watch industry right now is dead. Too many flim-flammers out there, too many hucksters, too many hoodwinks, who have been sandbagging you, have been sandbagging you people because you guys were spoof balls. You guys got flim-flammed and you guys got fleeced. And we're here to help you guys out, ladies and gentlemen. We really are. So from the bottom of my heart, this is the only public service watch announcement channel out there. Don't forget to please give us a thumbs up. You guys are doing beautiful. 12 recovering tomato cans, 6 thumbs up, looking good. A 50%. We're doing all right. You know what I'm saying? We're doing all right. But ladies and gentlemen, I have a few things that I must share with all of you because I have to. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I'm going to say to the people, the owners, of this platform, that everything that I'm saying is all allegedly. All allegedly, And I'm going to salute the Bohemian Grove people because they want me to salute them. And I believe that you guys should also salute the Bohemian Grove people, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to salute them. Don't get offended with me, ladies and gentlemen. Salute the owl. Like that. We start like this. And then we do. We salute them, ladies and gentlemen. And then from the real owners out there, the real owners, we do this. You can do it too. You don't have to do it. But I have to because I have my health on the line. I have my health on the line. And here it goes. Okay? The show is going to start now. Everything I say is allegedly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something that I'm a happy camper because I see that everything that I have said is happening the way I said it. Absolutely, Pete. Absolutely. Everything is happening. Gold drops. It goes all the way up to the moon. And then the capsule comes back down again. And then it goes back up again because that's the way I want it to behave. And ladies and gentlemen, just to let you guys know that precious metal materials are going all the way to the moon. No matter what they're trying to tell you, no matter what they're trying to sidetrack you from believing in this, you do whatever you want. It's your money and you spend it as you please. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, the troy ounce price of rhodium today is at $10,400 a troy ounce, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies and gentlemen, palladium, they should start making palladium watches, all palladium watches, all the way up. They're not like us. All the way up, ladies and gentlemen. Palladium is at $1,730. Unbelievable, but true, ladies and gentlemen. Platinum, ladies and gentlemen, is at $2,100 a troy ounce. And silver, ladies and gentlemen, silver is at $82 a troy ounce and moving all the way up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you what it is. I mean, that white stuff, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of people. I'm going to say this to you, and I'm going to say this in a beautiful way because it's a compliment. I know people that were having hard times, but they had pounds and pounds and pounds and hundreds of pounds of silver, and they have come ahead of the game. They're in front of la carreta. You know la carreta? You know la carreta. You know the horses. You know the horses in the front, and then you got the guys in the western in the back, right? In the back. You know, with the cart. The cart now is in front of the horses. Unbelievable, but true. I'm telling you, these people have loaded up on silver, and overnight, ladies and gentlemen, and overnight, because you guys are not understanding me. I'm talking about a pallet, like a pallet of marble, a pallet of slabs, a pallet of the white stuff, ladies and gentlemen. People that they were having a hard time and they had to eat rice and fried eggs. Nothing wrong with that. I grew up with that, ladies and gentlemen. I grew up with that. Nothing wrong. And I don't know if you know that thing they sell that was like a ham, but it wasn't ham. You know, back in the 70s, we used to eat Spam. You know, Spam? We used to eat that. You know, and they used to make fun of me in school and told me, look at the little Puerto Rican kid. He eats Spam, you know? And back then it was like real cheap and Pathmark. You know what Pathmark is? AMP and all that good stuff. You know, they will make fun of me. They will make fun of me because I was eating Spam. But ladies and gentlemen, to my surprise and to your surprise today, eating Spam, it will cost you like $8 a little can, like this small, you know? Just to let you know so you don't feel no more embarrassed, you know? I mean, I never felt embarrassed because, you know, I feel very sure who I am and where I come from. You know, I'm just a contender, you know? I was about to become a bum, but then I became a contender. All right, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, in the precious metal of gold, all for you, fried Spam is the best, ladies and gentlemen, with a couple of eggs. Unbelievable. The troy ounce price of gold, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get scared, Poppy. It's going all the way up. You got a bunch of people. You know, you got people that go against what I say. And that's beautiful because we need that in life. One that says up and one that says down, you know? And I'm going to keep on telling you it's going all the way up. And gold today, the troy ounce price of gold today, ladies and gentlemen, don't get scared. It's at $5,080 a troy ounce. $5,080 a troy ounce, ladies and gentlemen, you know? I mean, I'm telling you what's going on. You need to know all this stuff. And I got to tell you, you know? Exactly. You haven't lived. Coño, grande. Eres grande de verdad, grande. Eres grande de verdad. Ladies and gentlemen, you haven't lived until you had some Spam. I mean, you know, in my house, you know, we had Spam at least twice a week, you know, and it was 79 cents, you know, it was unbelievable. That little thing came out of the can, you know, unbelievable. So you need to listen to what Grande says, that you haven't, you know, tú no has crecido, you haven't become an adult until you eat Spam. You know what I'm trying to say? Exactly. A treat back. Grande, coño, grande. Grande, carajo. You know what? I'm going to keep on showing you something. I'm going to make this brief, but I have to show it to you, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I got to tell you, I have a love-hate relationship with this company, you know, with this management asset, you know, company. You know, I have a love-hate relationship because, you know, son una gonorrea, they're demons. They're demons and they're bad people. But man, what they do, you have to like, wow, man, they have it all covered. You know, I told you that last week, Sneaky, listen and learn, Sneaky Exactly, Thurston. Papa, Thurston, I want you to hear this, Thurston, because I want you to understand how good these mother froggers are. These mother froggers are unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, raise the thumbs up, man. I'm going to drop knowledge now so you understand where I come from when I say that the watch market is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, those people a week and a half ago, they dumped. Listen to this. Are you a believer or you're buying the dip? Are you a believer or you're buying the dip? Well, anyway, those people, they, at a moment that nobody knew nothing, nobody knows nothing, they sold $374 billion in Bitcoins. This is unbelievable. $374 billion. Listen and learn. Do the mathematics, ladies and gentlemen. Do the mathematics. And when they did that, sneaky, I'm telling you, grande, sneaky, bro, son el diablo. Son el diablo, Satanás. Satanás. Unbelievable. 374, but you guys think that was it, right? So when they did that, they waited a couple of days later and they did a wealth, a money wealth transfer. A money wealth transfer. Listen to this, how brilliant that guy, that Frank Larry, with his horns that come out at nighttime. They come out and they go salute the owl. I want to go salute the owl. And I want to take all of you to salute the owl, but in a good form, right? We don't want to eat no poop and we don't want to drink no piss. Mr. Owl, we want to salute you, Mr. Owl, but we want to keep away the poop and the piss. Unbelievable what I'm saying. Unbelievable. They must be thinking of me over there in the platform. Who is this guy? Where does this guy get this material from? Where does he get it from? I'm like Batman, So ladies and gentlemen, they dressed up all in black like the Ninja Turtles, but in black. And they did a money wealth transfer. A money wealth transfer of $2 trillion. $2 trillion. 375 billion in Bitcoin. $2 trillion. Quietly, when you guys were busy watching the Jeffrey Files. The Jeffrey Files over there in Nickelodeon. You know what Nickelodeon is? If you don't know what Nickelodeon is, you need to get with the program. Nickelodeon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm only telling you Nickelodeon. If I get a thunder lightning and the TV goes off, se jodió todo, papi. Se jodió todo. I know what I'm trying to tell you. And ladies and gentlemen, so you have $374 billion, $2 trillion. I told you that last month, BlackRock with Frank Larry, they had a total amount in their company, listen and learn, in their company of $11 trillion. And that at any time, they're moving around $20 trillion, right? I told you that. Listen and learn. I told you 375 billion in Bitcoin, and they move a wealth money transfer for the rich, for the powerful, not for you and me. Me and you were being sacrificed like they sacrificed the Titanic. You people still believe that the Titanic cruise line, the ship, was an accident with an iceberg. Come on, no se coma mierda. No coma tanta mierda. But let me go a little faster. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. $11 trillion they had. And they were playing around with it. And they had a total of 20 to play with. And suddenly, all these things happen with Bitcoin. Now, here it comes. Are you a believer of Bitcoin? Are you a believer? Don't feel ashamed. No. Alberto, are you a believer of Bitcoin? Alberto from Italia? With the emoji, puzzle watch. Are you a believer? Don't be afraid. You can say so, yes or no. We're not. No, he doesn't believe. He doesn't believe. He heard me. He does not believe in Bitcoin. Do you believe in the dip? Are you buying the dip? Are you buying the dip? Tell me, Doc, are you buying the dip? But before you say it, Doc, make Florida salute the owl because they might come and get you. But anyway, guys, anyway, so you can see how masterful BlackRock is. When they sold the $375 billion of Bitcoin, okay, Papi, well done. When they sold, they help me, help me out and correct me, okay? Help me out and correct me because I need somebody to correct me because I'm a dodo bird. Yo soy un lambón y un palomo. So when they sell the $375 billion in Bitcoin, listen and learn, Frank Larry sold. I'm going to give you a number. I don't care what number you have. I'm going to give you my number because I'm stupid like that. He sold at $90,000 a Bitcoin. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, last week, I think it was a day like today, or maybe tomorrow, Bitcoin went all the way down. If you're a believer and you're buying the dip, here it goes. It went all the way down to 63,500. I don't know if that's the real number. I'm just giving you a, so you understand where I'm coming from, 90,000 he sold, and now it's at 63,500. Do you think the guy with the horns, Frank Larry, do you think he bought the dip, Doc Mick of Florida? Do you think he bought the dip? Come on, somebody tell me. Somebody talk to me. Huh? Do you think, thank you. Thank you. Do you think that Frank, he sold at 90, the Bitcoin, la peseta? There you go, grande. There you go, grande. There you go. You know what today, if he bought that day as soon as it went down, and he said, okay, here's the transfer. Let's buy now. We buy it at $63,500. Do you know what Bitcoin is today, ladies and gentlemen? Does anybody know what Bitcoin is today? Go ahead, Google it. I double dare you to Google it. Do a little homework. Make your fingers work. Maybe you'll give me a thumbs up, Give me a thumbs up. You guys don't know what it is today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, if that gentleman from BlackRock purchased the dip at 63,500. This is on an example, Doc Mick. It can be more, it can be less, whatever it is. I'm giving you an example so you can understand what I'm saying. He bought it for 63, exactly. Today is at 68,000. $68,866.65. So this motherfrogger sold at 90. You know what that's called? Do you know what that's called? That's called when you go into the laboratory of a bathroom and you're doing piss in the bathroom, and you have those dividers, you have the toilets, and then you have, to do your piss, and you're standing there, and you hear from the other side somebody say to you, sell Bitcoin at 90, sell Bitcoin at 90, and buy the dip at 63, buy the dip at 63. So Frank was taking a leak and he ran out the door. Hey, boys, we got this. They told us that. Who could have been? It could have been the Polos. Who could have been? I don't know what it is. They say that's called, I don't know, please help me out. If I'm wrong, correct me. They say that's called inside trading, inside trading. So this unbelievable human being sold 375 billion in Bitcoin. Then the next day, couple of days, while you and me were watching the files of Jeffrey, of Nickelodeon, they did a wealth money transfer for the filthy rich of $2 trillion. And then inside, it's called inside knowledge. Okay, inside knowledge. It's called inside. Thurston, he's saying it's called inside knowledge. Okay, we're gonna call it inside knowledge. And then he waited, and it went down to 63, and he bought the dip. And he bought now for 63,500, and now it's at $68,866.65. How much money did this Meshuggah make on sacrificing you and me? You know, it's stone. You know, you understand me? You understand what I'm trying to say? They sacrificed you the way they sacrificed those three gentlemen, which were the three most powerful, richest men in the world in 1912. And J.P. Morgan was the owner. He was the owner of the Titanic cruise line ship. And just 10 minutes before they were supposed to sail, J.P. Morgan suddenly had an attack of hemorrhoids, and he couldn't go on the ship. And he let those three men, where they were in their way, go in the cruise ship and go to the bottom of the ocean. Papi, these people are evil, man. These people are evil. These people son malos, son gonorreas, son satánico. Satánico, brother. Satánico. It's something that me and you never gonna understand, because you know we don't really get into this. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's some movie that you guys I recommend. Maybe you're not even gonna like it. You know, un ataque de hemorroides, tuvo un ataque. Satanic is correct. You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, luxury gentlemen. You know what I'm saying. Satánico. There's no other way to put it. And the people were busy, distracted, watching the Super Bowl and going crazy and looking at all the A-listers, watches they were wearing, walking around. You know what I'm saying? I know it might happen. If it happens, se jodió el show. No hay más show y más nada. And, you know, all that kind of stuff, because you guys were distracted with the Super Bowl. You guys were distracted with the Jeffrey Files. You guys were distracted with, the Federal Reserve over there, too, pumping in another. You know how much they pumped in, ladies and gentlemen, too? Papi, esto es una locura. And it's all for them. It's all for them. It's a big gang. It's a big gang, and me and you are never going to be invited into that gang, because we're going to be sacrificed. You know? Tú sabes lo que hay, coño. Yo estoy encojonado hoy. Yo estoy encojonado, papi. You know what encojonado means? You Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. I'm telling you what it is, because you need to know this kind of stuff. We're not here talking about, rotors and dials and, this case, that bracelet, that metal. No, papi, I'm telling you this so you know that the watch market is dead. It's dead. It's only money for them, papi. It's only money for them. We got, nosotros tenemos la sobra, la sobra. And the guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, ladies and gentlemen, he's doing his tricks over there too, because they have him a little bit under control. The guy from Pennsylvania Avenue, that he has his little, little pet, you know who his little pet is? Marco Rubio, his little pet. He's like a lap dog sitting on his, You know what I'm trying to say? He's sitting on his lap. It's a little lap. It's unbelievable. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know, eso es así, Marquito, papi, tú lo sabes, grande, tú lo sabes, luxury. No tengas miedo, dilo, tíralo por el medio de la calle, tíralo bajo la guagua, throw him under the bus. Because people are having a hard time, ladies and gentlemen. La situación está mala. These people are cranking up. I want you to know something, ladies and gentlemen, because you guys don't know about this, When BlackRock, listen to this, when BlackRock supports a company, its stocks rises all the way to the moon, papi. When BlackRock supports a company, their stocks rise all the way to the moon. I mean, all the way to the moon. BlackRock, so you understand this, I'm going to give you an analogy here. You know, you have Coca-Cola and you have Pepsi-Cola, right? Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola. These motherfroggers own a piece of the action on both of those soda pops, on Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola. I know that doesn't make sense to you, but to me it makes like you won't believe it. But all the way to the moon. I'm telling you, they own both of them. They own both of them. No pueden. Con cuidado, coño, gracias. You know what this gentleman is telling me? Be careful. Be careful. You're dropping things that people are not supposed to know. If they come and get me, I'm always thinking, I told my wife always at nighttime, I said, put the alarm on and, just put it up. Told that lady when she comes back in to put the alarm on because one day you're going to wake up in the bed and I'm not going to be in the bed no more. I'm telling you what it is, I'm telling you. So I'm telling you what it is, what the subject is, together, ladies and gentlemen. Con Fanta. Fanta is better. That's right. Together, BlackRock and Vanguard, listen to this. Together, BlackRock and Vanguard influence, listen to these words, papi, porque son macabélicos. They're so macabélico que it's scary. These people, together, BlackRock and Vanguard, influence what you see, what you buy, and what you believe. That's crazy, man. To have that kind of power, man. You know what exactly? You know what it is to have that power? I mean, that's unbelievable. That's who they are. But I told you this 3 weeks ago, let's say a month ago, and I'm going to show you the ending of BlackRock now. The ending. Don't get scared. It's nice. That's why I have respect for them, because I told you a month ago, their management and their assets that they run around and play with is $11 trillion. This is going to give you goosebumps so you understand where the 374 billion Bitcoins come in effect and where the $2 trillion, money, wealth transfer for the wealthy, for Johnson & Johnson, Colgate Paste, baby powder. You know what I'm trying to say? Esto es increíble. What I teach you guys for free, I should get an Oscar for this, But here goes. There are 12 companies that they're involved, which are the world's, the world's top 10 asset managers of the world, right? Every single company that I'm going to tell you, when I did this last month, they were $1 trillion less. Are you hearing me? In other words, last month I told you on these management asset companies around the world how much they had. They were worth $3 trillion, right? Watch this now. And every number that I'm telling you, this company went up $1 trillion. $1 trillion, ladies and gentlemen. Does anybody know who Capital Group is? Capital Group. Last month, I told you 2-point-something trillion dollars. This month, with the money, wealth transfer, they have $3.2 trillion. One, I told you about Goldman Sachs. They also had 2-point-something trillion dollars last month. Today, ladies and gentlemen, Goldman Sachs is playing with $3.60 trillion. You got to thank the guy with the long horns. The long horns. You know what I'm saying. Luxury, the horns, the long horns. All these people have to kiss BlackRock's hand and kiss one of their horns. You don't know about this kind of stuff. You don't know, but I'm going to keep on anyway. I'm going to keep on. Increíble. JP Morgan. I told you 3-something last month. You know how much JP has now? $4.8 trillion. Let that sink in, papi. You know Fidelity? Does anybody know who Fidelity is? Fidelity. You know, let me go back. State Street. You know who State Street is? State Street hangs out with Vanguard and BlackRock. Believe me, they hang out. El triángulo. State Street had $1 trillion less last month. You know how much they have now? 5.70. From people like me and you, sacrifice. That's where it comes from. We're sacrifice. We're like cattle. Like cheap cattle, over there in Kansas, Tennessee, Texas, we're like cattle, We're walking into the slaughterhouse. What do you mean? You know how many people disappear? You don't know about that. I don't want to get into that. That's too powerful for you guys. Fidelity, ladies and gentlemen, Fidelity Investments. They had $1 trillion less last month. You know how much they got today? 6.80. You gotta thank Lawrence. You must thank Lawrence. They gotta thank Lawrence. Doc Mick made Florida, papi. That's how it works. You're one of the few. You're one of the lucky. But you're a small minority, Tú eres como, ¿cómo puedo decir esto, Kino, sin ofender a nadie? You're like a tick. Tú eres como un tick en el orto de Kino. But congratulations to you, Doc Mick of Florida. Congratulations to you. You ever heard of a company? You ever heard of UBS Group? UBS Group. These people were $1 million under last month. UBS, the guy that had a house over there in Monte Carlo, and they killed him over there, but they never knew who killed him, and they had their doctors working in the house. You know what I'm saying? These were people that in the wall watching, the killers were on the wall because nobody knows nothing, You know what I'm trying to say. The guy was over there. The guy was over there in Monte Carlo watching the Formula One race. And he was up there in the hill. The owner. They killed a guy, but nobody knows nothing. And then they wanted to blame it on the housekeeper, on the doctor. It was like the game Clue. You know the game Clue? You don't know about that kind of stuff. They were $1 trillion last month. Today, they're up 6.90. They got to kiss their hands. They got to kiss his hand, BlackRock's hand, and kiss his horn. You understand? You're gonna go, wow, man, this is crazy. Vanguard was $1 million less. It's a big club, papi. It's a big club. And today they have $11.6 trillion on their, on their management, asset company, right? I told you all those $1 trillion. Here it goes, BlackRock. I told you last month. Does anybody know how much I'm going to say that BlackRock has now? I told you last month. This is a big question for you guys. Last month, I told you $11 trillion was BlackRock worth. Or they were managing, managing $11 trillion. Today, Vanguard has 11.6. 11.6. Does anybody know what I'm going to tell you that BlackRock has right now? Coño, ¿quién es ese, mano? ¿Quién dijo eso? Coño, you know what? I'm a true believer that Doc Mick of Florida is making money. Ladies and gentlemen, read what Doc Mick of Florida put down. Voto mal agua. I'm going to let you guys talk about it. Talk about you guys. That gentleman, Doc Mick of Florida, laid the law. Because that's somebody that knows. But Doc, so do I. That's the crazy thing. So do I. I know too because I read too much. I go to the bathroom and I read. I go hide and I read all day long and I come out crazy. And they say, hey, Juan, what's wrong with you? Leave me alone. I'm going to go out for a moment. I'm going to go to the bank. I'm going to go talk to the teller. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you won't believe how much money BlackRock has this month. Doc Mick, tell him, Doc Mick, I'm going to drink water. And this is for you now. This gentleman by the name of Doc Mick of Florida, he told you $14 trillion. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's not lying to you. That's how much BlackRock has this month. $14 trillion. Keep in mind that Doc Mick of Florida, he made money when they sold the $375 billion of Bitcoins. And he made money when they got dressed up in black in the middle of the night, when we were all watching, that guy, Jeffrey Fowles, distracted with the Super Bowl parties. They got dressed in black and they made a wealth transfer of $2 trillion. And then they bought the dip. Papi, what I'm giving you guys today, Papi, what I'm giving you guys. Coño, you guys should be the coño. This guy, what he's telling us, you won't even hear it. You won't hear this. Hey, Doc, would you hear this in the news? Tell him, Doc, go ahead. Maybe in Doc's channel he hears it, but I haven't seen it in Eyewitness News. I haven't heard it in Fox and this. You won't hear that, none of that stuff. Look at that, no way. So you ask yourself, Papi, there's money out there for that group. There's money for Doc Mick of Florida. There's money. He said it, not me. I made money. It's a very, very, es algo bien pequeño. So I wanted to let you know about that because you need to know that. Ladies and gentlemen, many years ago, I would say a good 10 years ago, you had the ice bucket challenge that people will throw, ice water and they will say something, my challenges to my doggy, to my friend. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't remember what it was, but it was an ice bucket challenge. In this channel, me and Sweet Kikino have created a challenge in this channel that is moving around like wildfire, and it goes this way. It's called the No Spending Challenge of 2026. No Spending Challenge of 2026. They want you to keep on spending money. That's how they keep on making money. Keep on, Papi. These people own everything, whatever you think of, whatever sneakers you wear. No spending. The No Spending Challenge. The No Spending Challenge of 2026, created by no other than Sweet Kikino and me. Like the Ice Bucket Challenge, but this is the No Spending Challenge of 2026. I'm letting you know, ladies and gentlemen, we have 23 organic Watch Channel subscribers. Maybe they're spookers, and only 17 measly thumbs up. With the knowledge that I just gave you guys, coño. And then they're telling you that, these channels, they're opening up all over the place, all over the United States. Watch channels saying that we're doing a watch channel for investment on watches. Investment in watches. ¿De qué cojones están hablando ustedes? ¿De qué están hablando ustedes? Don't you hear the numbers that they're moving around? Papi, this is another story. We're not talking about millions of dollars. Para ellos es un peo. Ustedes se creen, mira, escúchame bien, para los que hablan español, ustedes se creen la gran mierda y no llegan ni a peo. I'm serious what I said right now. If you're Spanish, you understood that. If not, te jodites. You Google it because I'm not going to tell you. Ustedes se creen gran mierda y no llegan ni a peo. No llegan ni a peo. You know, today I had to tell somebody at work, you know, I work for a living, and I had to tell that person that. No. El problema de ustedes es que ustedes se creen la gran mierda y no llegan a peo. You know what peo is? Do you know what peo is? You Google it, because I'm not going to tell you. Anyway, guys, I'm not going to tell you no more because, you know, I'm going to get into something different now. I'm going to talk to you about something that we saw on Super Bowl weekend. You know, we saw a lot of A-lister stars over there in Super Bowl, all the slave puppets, you know, that work, you know, for the owners of the world. They were there, everybody, you know, they were all there. Rappers, actors, athletes, you know, they were all there, ladies and gentlemen. And Sweet Kid Kino, he spotted some people wearing beautiful watches over there. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start by telling you that Kino saw a gentleman by the name of Dion Dawkins. I believe he plays for the Buffalo Bills. And they saw him wearing over there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, when I tell you this, you're going to go, wow. It's incredible what I'm going to show you. They saw him wearing this watch over there. And it's a beautiful watch. And he was wearing this watch in the Super Bowl, you know. There it is right there. There it is. A Patek Philippe, ladies and gentlemen. 5966, you know, orange, you know, with orange hand, orange rubber band. You know, it's unbelievable. Walking around. There he is. He says it costs over $170,000. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm stupid like that, don't pay for that watch at this moment. Don't pay more than $126,000. And you know what it is, dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants. There he is. That's the football player with that watch. Unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is an unbelievable watch. You know that guy that he invented a new, you know, like Kentucky Fried Chicken, Popeye Chicken, Chick-fil-A. You know, so there's a new guy now here called Cranes. You ever heard of Cranes? Cranes Chickens? He's unbelievable, that guy, you know? He's unbelievable. Young man, you know, doing Cranes Chicken. And you're not going to believe this, but Mr. Cranes Chicken has this beautiful AP, you know? You know what I'm trying to say, Thurston, because Thurston is un hombre que sabe de la vida. Thurston sabe mucho. Thurston knows too much, ladies and gentlemen. Thurston knows too much, and it's an unbelievable. It's a 15202, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a BC. You know, and this is the watch that young fella was rocking in the Super Bowl. You know, over there, throwing signs over there, pyramid signs, you know, evil eye. He was over there. There he is right there. There he is. And he says it's $230,000. I'm not even going to tell you what I think you should pay for that watch. But that guy was there in the Super Bowl walking around, you know, with a Cranes soda cup. Unbelievable, that guy, you know. Unbelievable. Look at that. You see it right there, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. That's the guy. That's the guy from Cranes. The CFO, CEO, founder. I don't know what he is. Chicken Head. They call him Chicken Head now. Chicken Head. And there he is. That's number two. You know, Sweet Kid Kino got all this prepared for us. Saluting the owl. Salute the owl, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to this. 28 organic watch channels. I mean, they come here to learn. They come to learn here, but I only got 20. See, when I say that, they run to the hills like zitches. They run like zitches, ladies and gentlemen. You know that guy, you know that the other guy that he has a brother that he plays boxer. He's like a boxing guy. You know, Logan, he was wearing a date. You know, a date. There he is, a date he was wearing, you know, with olive green dial and a diamond bezel. Unbelievable, that guy. You know, I think his name is, I don't know what his name is. I think it's Logan. This guy's Logan. Logan, I don't know. I think it's Logan. You know, there he is. He was wearing that one, walking around. He was talking to Jay-Z and talking to Fox Jimmy and talking to The Rock. You know, they were all there together, you know, and Vanessa Bryant. They were all together, they were touching elbows, and you know what it is. These people, how they are, you know, this is a cult. Me and you are never going to be there, you know? But there it is. There it is right there, ladies and gentlemen. And unbelievable. If you want that reference number, that guy is, the reference number of this watch is the 228, 22883. Unbelievable. MSRBR. Unbelievable. You know, one of those catalog. off catalog watches, to let you know. And ladies and gentlemen, there's another gentleman by the name of, his name, this guy's unbelievable. His name is Ryan Castro. Ryan Castro, he was rocking. He's a Colombian rapper. He's going to be sacrificed very soon. They're going to sacrifice him. They're going to take him to the back door. Have you ever seen the movie Eyes Wide Shut? Something to that effect? And let me tell you something. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to go see that movie so you understand how the world is monopolized and how it works. The way I give you signs of the saluting the owl, it works just like that, So you need to watch that movie so you understand everything that I'm telling you and how they sacrifice it and how they salute and drink, and what they drink is unbelievable. Well, Ryan Castro, ladies and gentlemen, he was walking around the Super Bowl and he was wearing a 5980 rose gold, chrono. Unbelievable, that watch. And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that guy. What a star, What a star. Look at that. He's over there watching, sitting down. He's getting ready. He's getting ready to, get to the back room and, they're gonna wax and clear up his sinus congestion. They're gonna clear it up for him because this is how it works. You need to get clear. You need to get your sinus congestion cleared up. There it is. And that is number 4, ladies and gentlemen. Number 4. Number 4. And ladies and gentlemen, this actor, they wax him out, Bobby. They gotta wax him out, Bobby. If you want that kind of money, you need to listen to me, guys. They tell you. They tell you, what are you willing to do? What are you willing to give up for the 20 million club? You understand me? For the 20 million club. Because if you think the 20 million club is it, no, you're wrong. That's like, eso como peanuts. That's like to go in, What are you willing to do? And what are you willing to do in the $50 million club? What do you want to give up? What do you want to give up? You want to give up one of your flowers? You want to give up, one of your dogs? And then you hit $100 million. Bring him the poop. Bring him the piss. Because he wants to join the $100 million club. But you gotta eat poop. Tiene que comer mierda y tomar meao. You gotta drink Kino's piss. You don't know about this kind of stuff. You think I'm talking nonsense, but I'm not talking nonsense. Ladies and gentlemen, that actor, he made a movie, St. Elmo's Fire, over there in Georgetown in Washington, D.C., with Demi Moore. There was a bunch of actors there, Esteves was in that movie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was surprised when Kino told me that this man was wearing this watch, And I couldn't believe it. I said, man, he's wearing that? That's incredible. This is what he was wearing, an AP Royal Oak Chrono 26240. And I think it's a ceramic, the CE. For everyone wants it. There it is. Rob Lowe, looking beautiful, huh? Looking nice. Getting ready to get sacrificed. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What's the price of the 5980? Man, don't pay for that watch more than $167,000 at this moment. But you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. That's the 26240 Chrono, 41 millimeter, black ceramic, 26240 CE. There he is. He sacrificed his life. This is what he gets now, He gets to sit there. It's a big, the Super Bowl game has become a sacrificed big party. Just in case you guys don't know that. There it is right there, okay? That's right there. Rob Lowe. Unbelievable, that Rob Lowe. There he is. That's the watch. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another one here that's going to blow your hair back and knock your socks off. When I say, lean back, lean back, lean back, all the way up. Lean back, lean back. You know who that is? Lean back. You don't know that one? I'm going to show you who that one is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is with a Daytona. What a Daytona, ladies and gentlemen. A Daytona Oyster Flex. Rose gold with diamonds in the bezel. I mean, all the way up. All the way back. All the way back. You know what I'm saying? You don't know? You still don't know who it is? You don't know who it is? He's over there sitting down. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. 112. Don't pay more than 112. Don't pay. I'm going to keep on giving it to Chris for free because I'm stupid like that. For free. Don't pay more than that. You do whatever you want. But there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is. All the way back. All the way back. There he is with the giraffe. With the giraffe, ladies and gentlemen. The giraffe. Unbelievable. You know what they call him? They call him Fat Joe. There he is with the Fat Joe watch. The giraffe, ladies and gentlemen. This is unbelievable. What you see there in that show, Sweet Kick Kino has prepared all this. Kino, gracias por todo, Kino. No han dado ni una peseta, Kino. No, sí, dieron 1.99, Kino, me equivoqué. Lo dio Bombón, lo dio 1.99. Gracias, Bombón, por eso. There he is, Fat Joe, looking beautiful, looking sexy over there at the Super Bowl. It was a convention party for them, ladies and gentlemen. It was a convention party. They were all there. They even say that Michael Jackson was sitting there with some kind of a mask. And they say that Kobe Bryant was there too. I'm only telling you what I hear, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you don't have to believe what I say. It's what I see, you know. There he is, Fat Joe, looking beautiful and sexy and keeping himself warm. There he is, the giraffe. Unbelievable. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Wicked. It's an unbelievable show. You know, they're gonna sacrifice. I'm thinking to myself, man, you know, they should be there. These unbelievable influencers, you know, like the Warris Fat Bastard, you know, the Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo, you know, Big Pun and Heavy D, the two Jehovah Witness brothers, the two Toddler Body brothers, the Hindu brothers, like 7 of them. They have tape haircuts, you know, with logos on their hair, you know, done with the machine. They should be there. No, porque son unos lambones. This was a big convention for them, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to show you something, ladies and gentlemen, that this guy basically, they say that he is the priest. They say that this guy is the priest, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to show you the priest. You know, I'm going to show you the priest because this is what he was wearing when he was over there, you know. These people are unbelievable. He was wearing this watch. We're talking about a $450,000 watch. You know what the Patek Philippe Celestial is? Patek Philippe Celestial. It's an unbelievable watch, ladies and gentlemen, you know. Reference number 6102. Unbelievable watch, you know, the Celestial. But this guy is the priest. This is the guy that, you know, that he waxes you. And waxes you and he checks your sinus congestion, you know, your sinus congestion. He clears it up for you, you know. There he is, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Hey, what a beautiful piece, huh? There he is, Papa. That's the guy right there. He is the high priest. The high priest. There he is, ladies. The Celestial. There he is, Papi. There is for you guys. It's for you guys so you understand. The Celestial. You know, he's an unbelievable, that guy. You know, he's the one that has Benito. You know who Benito is? He has total control of Benito. Benito. You guys don't know who Benito is? I'm gonna show you Benito. I'm gonna show you Benito so you understand who Benito is. They say that this is a $450,000 watch. Don't pay for that watch no more than $330,000. Did you hear that, Christopher? Don't pay more than $330,000. You pay a penny more than that, you're a sandbag, you're a crumb bum, you're a tomato can, you're a window licker, you're a cow tipper, you know, you're a possum kicker. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, don't pay. There he is, the priest. Look at him. Look at his eyes. It's unbelievable, demonic. You got to sacrifice whatever it is, ladies and gentlemen. You got to sacrifice. I don't want to tell you. But ladies and gentlemen, there were many more. I just picked the ones, picked the ones that he believed that is worth showing you. But ladies and gentlemen, you have Benito. Does anybody know who Benito is? Benito? Does anybody know who Benito is? No? The Ghost Train jumper is contemplating to throw himself on the Empire State Building. I'm just letting you know. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a watch here, which is an unbelievable watch. This is the reference number, the 15553BA. And they make this watch, they produce this watch in two sizes, on a 37 millimeter and on a 41 millimeter. It is a beautiful, beautiful watch. It's a beautiful watch. I think this watch, my wife has a little, you know, those guys on 47th Street that wear those little clover flowers, like the man bun, you know, skin hair. You know, I think it's called something like Van Cleef, right? Van Cleef. Well, that guy has like around 5 of them, right? Around him. My wife only has one little clover, and it's a Malachi green. You know, Malachi? ¿Tú conoces Malachi? Malachi. So this guy here, Benito, was rocking it within the stadium. There he is. You know who he is? And that's the watch. That watch comes in a 37 millimeter, and it also comes in a 41 millimeter, but it has a Malachi green dial, which is unbelievable. I mean, I think this watch is gonna make a lot of noise. Anybody out there that has a good contact with their AP, I mean, and I'm gonna say this to all of you. If exactly, that's who it is, Bad Bunny. That's Bad Bunny. We call him Benito Ortiz Martinez. If you can get this watch in any format, in the 37 millimeter or the 41, you're doing good. You know, you're doing good. The 37 millimeter size is not a 36. You know, it's nice. You know, you can rock it. I wouldn't even be afraid. I'm like 6'3", in a bad day, and I'll wear a 37 if I have to. Put that Malachi green dial, but they also have it in a 41. So if anybody gets a phone call for that watch, you're gonna hit a home run. You're gonna hit a home run, and that's his real name, Benito. That's his real name. You're gonna hit a home run with that watch. So these are the watches that were being paraded in the Super Bowl, but there were many of them. You know, there were many. You know, you had Jamie Foxx with a Hublot, big bang. It had diamonds even in the rubber, on the rubber strap. You know, so you had a lot of things going on. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. There it is. Those are the watches. I hope you appreciate that. Hope you appreciate that, because we're trying to give you guys some, you know, some entertainment. You know, something else. You know, And I'm gonna give you guys a watch market update. It's very, very quick. So listen up so we can all go to bed. The first watch, ladies and gentlemen, is an MB&F. Thank you very much, Thurston. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The first watch is an MB&F Legacy. You know, the Legacy. Beautiful watch. It's an unbelievable, you know. It's the split escapement, you know. MB&F, these people make unbelievable watches. It's titanium. It's from 2021. The reference number is a 04 TLG. If you want to look into it, you might get that, okay? It's an unbelievable. The Legacy Machine Split Escapement. Beautiful watch. Limited edition. Imagine this. And this watch is under retail. Wow. Doc is fighting. He's fighting. But Doc, I'm gonna tell you, since you're making a lot of money, you know, with those Bitcoins and, you know, and all that good stuff, even though you're making that big money, don't pay 60 for it. But pay for that watch if you have to. I'm not telling you to pay for an MB&F Legacy. I'm not telling you to pay it, but I'll tell you right now, don't pay more. If you have to, don't pay more than $53,000. You do whatever you want, okay? You have the reference number there. It has a beautiful dial. You know, it has a beautiful dial. It has all that good stuff, you know. But For some reason, even MBNF is dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants in an Arkansas farmhouse, right? Our next watch is another MBNF. This is another beautiful MBNF, and this is the HM8. The Mark II, blue titanium, blue carbon. It's a beautiful looking watch too. The Macrolon, the R82TL. Beautiful watch, under retail, under retail. I mean, the watch market is dead, ladies and gentlemen. That guy over there, BlackRock, Lawrence, he took everybody for a ride. Left you guys homeless. Left you homeless. Don't pay for that watch more than $50,000. It's way under retail. I mean, you do whatever you want, right, guys? Here's another watch. It's a Patek Philippe Grand Complications Yellow Gold 5159. It has a leather strap. It's a beautiful watch. It's a 38 millimeter, and it has a retail price of $99,300. Beautiful watch. Perpetual calendar. Perpetual calendar. Beautiful watch. But I'm going to show you again how bad Grand Complication watches is. Wow, look at that, Mr. Premium. I respect you for that, Papa. I respect you for that number. But you're going to be blown away when I tell you the number for real. When I tell you the number, you're going to be blown away with the number I'm going to tell you. Saludos, Mr. Donut, saludos. Again, Patek Philippe Grand Complications, Yellow Gold, 51. Wow, wow. Christopher ain't playing around. You see, this is why right there I have to stop, because I told Christopher the retail price of that watch is $100,000, over $100,000 with taxes and all that good stuff. And Christopher said a number there of $33,000. And I respect that. I even respect that even more because he's very, very, very close to the price that I'm going to give you on that watch. Don't pay for that 51. Oh, he ain't playing around. He came in blazing. He was analyzing everything, and he came in blazing. And he said, and that's good, Christopher. Don't move that number 33. Don't move it. Don't move it. Don't move it. Let me see that real well, man. He said 33. And Mr. Donut said 38. He said 33. Okay, so the battle's between Mr. Donut and him. But Mr. Donut, don't pay for that watch. Christopher, Mr. Donut, all of you, don't pay for that watch. Beautiful watch. But don't pay for that watch more than $36,000. We're not going to give it a drop because it's not good. These watches are work of arts. But, I'm telling you, the only thing that the Patek Philippe has, their work horseman, is no other than, I don't care what they tell you. You can keep on believing what you want. You're talking about a $100,000 watch. Don't pay more than 36. You know what? I'm going to dare to use Christopher's number. Don't pay more than $33,000. He did. And this is not a complication. This is a grand complication, Bobby. Is dead. No matter what they keep on telling you, I'm going to tell you the truth. The two watch models, if Patek did not have, would have a lot of problems. Like serious problems. Aquanaut, like Mr. Thurston Howard III says, Aquanaut and Nautilus. No existe más nada, papi. No existe. El resto es mierda. The rest is shit. Is shit a bad word? I don't think it is. The rest is shit. Honestly, no, you cannot deny the movements those watches have are unbelievable. But price-wise, come on, it's dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants in Arkansas farmhouse. And nobody can save it. Nobody can save it. You know it. There you go, Christopher. You said it. I didn't say it. You said it. There it is. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is another Patek Philippe. This one is a Nautilus. Listen to this so you understand me. Patek Philippe Nautilus, stainless steel. Unbelievable looking watch. The 5726 with a gray dial. It's not a white dial. It's not a blue dial. It's the gray one. It's the least one that people want. It's frosted snow, snow that got dirty in the Bronx, the taxis, the gypsies, going by, se jodió. It became gray, frosted gray. Unbelievable that color, 5726, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable looking watch. Unbelievable. Great dial. Unbelievable. Retail price of that watch is $68,712. So here it goes, so you understand me. Papi, you could buy, I could have buy these watches. I could have buy these watches in the day. You guys are not gonna believe me, but I'm telling you 1,000% the truth. $9,000 for the Nautilus, $9,000. And then I remember I bought a 3712, Patek Philippe. I bought it for $27,000. And somebody made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and I said, let it go. And today, that 3712 is all the way up to the moon, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know. And ladies and gentlemen, Christopher, again, he knows these numbers. These watches, I can tell he knows about them. Don't pay for that Patek 5726. Don't pay for it. It has the ugly gray dial. I mean, I call it ugly, but it's not ugly. It's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful watch. Don't pay for that watch, and I mean don't pay for that watch. Christopher said $90,000. Don't pay for that watch more than $94,000. You see the difference? It's holding his money. And let me tell you, these are the work horses that they have. Those two models. And you know how many models Patek has? If it wasn't for those two horses, listen to me, you guys are not hearing me. Papi, se fuera pique, la Patek Philippe. Se fuera pique. Let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen. Let's be honest. I say this always, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. To be a real watch collector, you must have leather on your watch collection. To be a real watch collector, you must have leather. Keep it in your head that Juan Felipe Nieves is telling you this. For you to be, it's a must. You have to have leather. If you don't have leather, tú eres un pendejo, right? Eres un pendejo. So you would think that all these watches, Calatrava, Complications, Grand Complications, these are unbelievable watches. But these watches cannot hold. Papi, there's a watch that is fully a rose gold chronograph, split second. It's a monster of a watch. And the watch is like 300. I forgot the reference number now. The watch is like $348,000 is the retail. Papi, you put this watch on your wrist and you're walking in flip-flops. Over there in Charleston, North Carolina, you're walking around looking for oysters and clams, and you have a pair of flip-flops, a pair of, old-looking shorts and a t-shirt that says "I love Budweiser," But you have that thing on your hand, that's all you need. And that watch, the 5370, Papi, thank you. That watch is somewhere. Man, how much is it, Mr. Donna? Help me out. I haven't looked at it lately. I mean, the price, But I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, put half of it. Put half of that. I'm telling you, put half of it. Half of it. Put half of it. Monster watch. Papi, this is a monster watch. You're not a whale, you're a blue whale. They can't move that watch. But they can't move that watch. But there it is. I'm just letting you know what's going on, what I believe in Patek. Patek is in a lot of and that's why they got to keep on pumping those watches. That's why they got to keep on pumping Nautilus and Aquanaut. They don't have nothing else. Nobody wants. Guys, one more time, you must have leather on your watch collection. But not everybody likes leather and doesn't like complications and doesn't like grand complications. They don't like it. They don't like it. Do a survey and you're gonna watch. No, I want an Aquanaut. No, I want a Nautilus. That's it. So Patek is gonna have to start doing Pateks of Nautilus and Aquanauts like Wonder Bread. Like Wonder Bread. That's what I got to say. Our next watch, ladies and gentlemen, is a Patek Philippe. Listen to this one. This is for all of you now. Let's see what you guys write. This is for all of you for real. Patek Philippe Nautilus, white gold, blue jean, dial, blue jean strap, 5980, 40.5 millimeter casing. Retail price, this watch hasn't, Bobby, this watch has not exploded to the way that all these flim-flammers, you know, they have been fleecing you for too long. It exploded. It has not. It has not. Bobby, what's coming out now is, you know, they're taking a back seat. This is the 5980 with a blue jean dial, blue jean, you know, dungaree strap. Unbelievable. Look at that, 170. A man that knows already. No, Doc, you missed a one somewhere around there or something. You missed something. We wish it was 70, but it's not. We can't. But these people were saying 275, 290. You know what I'm talking about. Deputy Boxing Black Eyes. His sidekick, Jiminy Cricket, with the Chia Pet spray can hair with the Pete Rose baseball cap hair on. You know what I'm saying? You understand me? The Walrus Fat Bastard, you know? The Hungry Hippo, Mr. Magoo. You know, these people, you know, it's not. The 5980. 5980. And the price has gone up. This was, I don't know if you know this. Can anybody tell me what this watch was? Dungaree, Papi, dungaree. What this watch was, it was like, I believe, $72,000, right? That's the retail price of the watch. $72,000. You know, Patek, 59.80. Blue jean down, blue jean, you know, blue jean strap. And ladies and gentlemen, the price of that watch today, you're not going to believe it. Es que están loco. It's $98,160 plus your Uncle Sam's taxes. And I'm going to tell you because I'm stupid like that, because I dare myself to be different from everybody else. No, it's not. It's not. It used to be that. You see, it used to be 89,000. Today, it's 98,160. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch more. I mean, you do whatever you want, but don't pay for that watch more. It's not moving, Papi. It's not moving. Don't pay more than $164,000, right? Don't pay more than $164,000. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my last watch of the evening. My last watch of the evening. This watch, ladies and gentlemen, is way below the retail price that I'm going to give you. This is an AP, a Royal Oak Offshore, 43 millimeter, stainless steel. It has the famous Havana dial, Havana chronograph. This watch was, when it first came out, $65,000, $52,000. I remember I was on a trip with my wife when that watch came out. As a matter of fact, I was in Italia when this watch came out, the Havana. The only thing it had beautiful is that beautiful brownish tobacco dial, and it has the strap, brown, but the watch has been dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants. And ladies and gentlemen, this watch is an unbelievable watch. I like this watch. I really do. The 26420 ST stainless steel. Coño, you guys are bad. You guys know too much. You guys, Mr. Thurston and Mr. Donut and Mr. Premium, you guys are terrible. You guys are cretins. Ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. The Thurston, how was it? 35, right? Well, here it goes, guys. It was all of you. You guys were all right. You guys are all right. Don't pay for that watch more than $34,000. Don't pay more than $34,000. All right, guys? Guys, that's my watch market update. I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope you guys learned something. We cover a lot of territory and different things. I hope you like the pictures of the Super Bowl watches from all those A-listers at the big, Super Sunday big game. I hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoyed gold prices. I hope you enjoy what BlackRock did to everybody, and only Doc Make of Florida made a fortune you know? And I hope you enjoy the Watch Market Update. On behalf of me and Sweet Kid Kino, we want to thank you very much for being in this live stream. Thank you to all of you, to all your support for being here. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And like me and Sweet Kid Kino say always, to all of you, take care and brush your hair. Good night, guys. Peace. Bye-bye, guys. I love you too, Ed. Hello, ciao, ciao, Thurston. I love you, Christopher. Gracias, Christopher. I hope the prices are good for you.